Thank you so much, Ashley. And thank you all for investing the time to be here today. I'm super ecstatic and excited to share these insights around connecting and inviting with all of you. So I want to encourage you, you would have received an email with a link to a handout. It looks sort of like this, minus the notes. And so I wanted to encourage you to access that handout so that you can take notes and be able to lock in what you're learning. So thank you for your warm and loving welcome. I'm going to go ahead and find our PowerPoint here. I want to make sure that it shows successfully. So let me see, I'm going to do slideshow. And can you still see us and see the show? Okay, great. That's an important piece. Sometimes technology, I say technology is my friend. I claim technology as my friend. Sometimes it'll show the PowerPoint and not me, sometimes me and not the PowerPoint. So it's always good to clarify.
You're looking good and your slides look great.
Great. Okay, great, Ashley. And then I'm hoping that you can keep an eye on the chat. So if we have questions or comments that come up for clarification, that we're able to address it, because I'm going to be sharing and I may miss something, and I want to make sure that we keep pace with all of you on the line.
Yep.
So connect and invite. Let's get ready. So sometimes what I like to do is, especially because we're in the middle of the day, and sometimes in the middle of the day, we get kind of this version of ourselves. the oh my goodness, it's the middle of the day version. And what I'm looking for is this version of you. So I'd like for you to open up your mind. Just do this. If you're driving, then let's do it with one hand. So if you're in your office or you're in a place where you can literally do this, and it's okay if people are looking at you and saying, gosh, that looks weird. It's all right, because it's okay to be weird and successful versus the same and mediocre. So take your hands and open up your mind, and you're going to also open up your heart to what you're about to experience. These concepts came from a request from people that were asking me, Grace, you meet with people all over the world. How do you connect and invite them to do business with you? How do you connect with people in a way that leaves this positive and uplifted impression where people are excited to do business with you or refer business to you? And so they wanted the insights of how to meet and connect with more people and invite them to become a part of their world. And that's the purpose of our time together today, is to share with you how to connect with people at a level that they're receptive, they're open, they have this open posture, and also invite them. So we're going to go through this process. It's a 3-step process, and we're going to get through as much as we can, because with me and as a teacher, I am focused on what you're looking for and what you would like to gain and glean from this experience. What I found is that if I'm always focused on the curriculum or the content that I had planned to deliver to you, that may or may not serve you. So great facilitators are agile, they're flexible, they adapt and adjust to the audience, the people that are the recipients of the message, so that we can leave this great impact that will propel your business forward. So that's my intention for today. Our focus is to quickly identify communication preferences. I want you to do this really quickly with me, because you'll remember it. Quickly identify communication preferences. It's like, okay, I'm going to speak in a way that speaks the same language as this person. I'm going to connect with them in their preferred method of communicate with their preferred method of communication. You're also going to be able to clarify your message, clarify what you're looking to share, so that it is what I like to call snappy. It's a snappy message. It's a sound bite. It's saying a lot with a little. See, sometimes we think, oh, we've got to fully explain every single detail and every single product and every single way benefit for hosting. And we go on and on and on. And we can create confusion versus clarity. When people are confused, they tend to stand still. So do this with me. When people are confused, they tend to stand still. When people have clarity, they tend to bounce forward. they tend to bounce forward. So the more clear your message is, the more able and easy it is to do business with you. The more able and easy it is to refer you business. So clarifying your message is very important. And I've even written out some specific things that I'm going to share with you that are Norwex centric. That's right. We came up with a new word, Norwex centric. All right, let's keep going. Invite people to do business with you. So sometimes what happens is we share and we're excited about all that we have to offer and we tell them, or we attempt to convince them. Selling is telling. Sharing and asking questions is engaging. And so sometimes we get to the point where we've shared a lot and we forgot to invite them to do business with us. We forgot to invite them on who would be a great client for you, or someone that they know that you would feel privileged to serve. So invite people to do business with you. And I was one of those people. It was like I was all about the delivery that I'd forget to invite. So I'm speaking from personal experience, and that's why it's made it to the focal point of our conversation today. Yes, I'm glad you like it. We've got a new hashtag, Norwex-centric. So I've got some Norwex-centric insights for you as we progress. So strategies to communicate with impact and create valuable connections. Notice the word strategy. It's not like I am throwing some noodles up on the wall and hoping something sticks. Oh, let me just toss a few things out there and hope it works. Yeah, that can be known as a default way of communicating with impact. So I'm hoping it lands versus I'm being strategic. I'm designing the way I'm communicating to serve this person and to add value and to build relationships, to create solid connections. So strategy. So I want you to write this down. This is a soundbite for you. So which do you prefer? Connections by design or connections by default? A life by design or a life by default? A life by design or a life by default? See, when we design it, it means that we've got some thought put into it. We've created a plan. We have some ideas of what has worked in the past. Okay, this is a distinction. What has worked in the past, what is currently working, and what could work in the future. That right there is a great self-coaching question, and you're going to learn more about that at Leadership in January. So I want to give it to you again so you can practice, because practice makes permanent. So you can practice these questions on yourself to formulate your strategy to communicate with impact and create valuable connections. So let me give you the questions again. What has worked in the past? So you're reflecting on what has worked in the past. What have I done that I may not be doing now? Or what have I done in the past that worked so well and I kind of forgot about it? So what worked well in the past? Then asking yourself, what is working? What is currently working well? And it doesn't necessarily need to be working well for you. It could be you're borrowing it from someone else, but it's working well for others. So what is currently working well? And then the third question, again, this distinction question, is what could work? What could work? That taps into your creativity, your possibility thinking, your sifting and sorting, your imagination. So these questions right there, those three questions are very strategic. I encourage you to ask them of yourself and to ask them of others. What's happening when you ask those questions is you have this full circle dialogue so that the brilliant, strategic, insightful, creative ideas, they level and up to the surface. Or as you can see here by these pictures, we can even say they bubble up to the surface. So Here's a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you. Somebody's asking, is this being recorded? Yes, this is being recorded. Okay, and let me see what else here.
It looks like we have one question. How to invite people to communicate with me? Can I have an example?
Oh, yes, oh my goodness. I love that let's give her a virtual tip. Who was that? That was Evelina.
Yeah.
Evelina, we're giving you a virtual tip
Woo-hoo!
because you are ahead of the game, my friend. It's right here. So we're going to talk about how do you connect with people. Now, there are a few thoughts. One is to pick up what some people now with modern technology have hesitated with, and that is to pick up the phone. That is to pick up the phone and call because you care. Now, and the reason I'm saying this, and the reason I'm putting such emphasis on this, is because I was at an event and there were a group of people that said, I want to send you a text message of something that we're using as a communication strategy. Will you edit this? Will you refine this? Will you make this, make this enhanced? Okay. And I said, let me take a look at it. Now, I learned a great lesson with that. I took a look at it, gave them back my feedback on my compassionate feedback on the text, revised it, and they were like, oh my goodness, we are good to go. I did not clarify in that interaction what sequence was this text message going to be in. And what I did not realize was that was their first point of contact. It was the text. And they were like, Grace, this isn't working the way we thought it would. I said, please clarify for me a little bit about that. And they shared with me that was their first point of contact. Well, first point of contact, I encourage you to not be a text. I encourage you, your first point of contact, to be personable, to pick up the phone and to call and connect. What I like to call with my children, that's right, my 8 children, human contact, human connection. People carry their phones with them everywhere, so they're likely to pick it up. Now you're probably saying, well, what do I say once they pick it up? Well, I'm going to share with you. And this is not based on theory. This is based on practice, because this is what I do when I meet someone and I follow up with them to connect with them over the phone. It's very simple, and I am going to repeat it because some of you are like, can you talk a little bit slower? So I'm going to repeat this phrase so that you have it. So first things first, when I pick up the phone, I'm going to call and say my first name. I'm going to ask for them. So I'm going to say their first name. Hi, this is Grace. So when I'll ask for their name. I'll say, hi, is Sarah there? And I'll use only her first name. First and last name often builds a wall really quickly because they're like, oh my goodness, who is this? And why are you calling me? Friends call people by their first name. They don't call them by their first and last name. So I'm going to ask for them. So I'm going to say, hi, Sarah, this is Grace. We met the other day at, and wherever we met. So if we met at the grocery store line, if we met, let's say we met at Costco. So we met at Costco in line. This is Grace. We met at Costco in line the other day. I want to ensure that this is a good time. I'm calling to speak with you for 2 to 3 minutes. Notice there's a few things. Hi, this is Grace. I'm not going into too many details. I'm reminding her or him of where we met. So we met in line at Costco. And I want to ensure, notice I didn't ask the question. I didn't say, is this a good time? Is this a bad time? Is this a friendly time? Is this a happy time? I'm not asking that. I'm making a statement. I want to ensure that this is a good time. I want to ensure that this is a good time. I'm calling to speak with you for 2 to 3 minutes. What that little statement does with the request of I'm calling to speak with you for 2 to 3 minutes, especially for the busy individual, 2 to 3 minutes, oh my goodness, that sounds snappy, that sounds quick, that sounds respectful. what happens is if we don't give a time frame when we call a person that's in the middle of something could be like, oh my gosh, they've invaded my time. They're invading my territory. They're calling me and I am so busy. Don't they know how busy I am? She's thinking about her inner dialogue. The voice she is hearing is her own. Versus when we say, I'm calling to speak for 2 to 3 minutes, or I'm calling to connect for 2 to 3 minutes. What I'm saying is, I've thought about what I'm going to share with you. That's number one. I've put some thought into it. Number two, she knows, okay, this is not going to be a 30-minute steal my time. This is not going to be a 30-minute time robbery. She just took the day from me. So that resistance, it's almost like the walls or the weapons drop. Also, notice the word speak. In our profession, back in the day, and even recently, people have used the term chat. Let's chat. And I think it's because of social media. Oh, I want to chat with this person. A business person or a professional or someone that's on a timetable or has what we call an abundant life, they don't want to chat. They're like, I don't have chat. I don't have time for casual conversation in the middle of the day. You want to speak with me? You want to have a conversation with me? You want to connect with me? I'm open. Chatting, I don't have time for casual conversation. So that very posture, my friends, of connect, speak, interact, have a conversation with this person, wow, what an impact that can have on them. And again, creating receptivity versus, can we chat? So what it also does is it creates less, because sometimes when they get on the phone with us and they don't have a timetable, they think it was an hour and it was literally 30 seconds. We just spoke for 30 seconds and it felt like an eternity to them. So that also will lessen the barrier. Now, key ingredient, my friends, is that I didn't say 1 minute. The reason I didn't say 1 minute is because it can be very challenging to build rapport, create connection, even ask a question in 1 minute and get a response. 2 to 3 minutes, you'll likely be able to ask a question and get a response, or share something and ask a question and get a response. And so when you come to that 3-minute mark, what I encourage you to do is to share with them, looks like we're coming up on that 3 minutes that I promised. Is it okay to continue? Or shall we reschedule for a time later today or tomorrow? Every single conversation that I've had, because again, we can uplift a room. Do they smile when we walk in, or do they smile when we walk out? Do they smile when they hear from us, or do they frown when they hear from us? So that distinction of, if they're enjoying the conversation, they are likely to continue. And if they don't have the time right now at this moment, because they've enjoyed the conversation, they're likely to set a time for later in the day, that day, or the next day. I encourage you, though, to be accelerate the conversation. Ensure that it's either today or tomorrow, because that enthusiasm will still be out. Their enthusiasm for this initial conversation will still be elevated. And when I request, if it is going to be rescheduled, I request for 10 to 15 minutes, a brief conversation, 10 to 15 minutes at the very most. So questions, thoughts, or comments on what I've shared with you so far? I'd love to hear questions, or I want to be able to clarify anything with regards to that statement.
They're loving it so far. Jessica loves it. Deanna said, if they don't answer, is that the same message you would leave?
Oh, great question. So no, it's not. If they don't answer, what I'm doing is I'm stating my name. So I'm stating, hi, Sarah. So very casual. Hi, Sarah, this is Grace. We met at Costco. My goodness, Costco is getting a major plug here with Normex today. Sorry. You could say a networking event, wherever it was. We met at the playground. So, Hi, Sarah. This is Grace. We met at the playground the other day. I was calling to speak with you for 2 to 3 minutes. And so again, hi, this is Grace. We met at the playground. I was calling to speak with you for 2 to 3 minutes. My phone number is, and I'm going to repeat it twice. I'm looking forward to connecting with you, or I'm looking forward to speaking with you. And again, it's very upbeat. You may even want to put a mirror or something like an emoji smiley face. I've got those. They've got Post-it notes out there with emojis on it. They're fantastic. I can place that on your near your phone. And so when you pick it up, it reminds you, okay, smile. Okay, bring your best to this conversation. Okay, bring the greatest version of you to this call right now, Grace. So be the person that you would like, be that person that you would like to be around more. All right, be that person that you would like to share your time with, and pick up that phone. And so I'm repeating my phone number twice. Now, if I'm leaving a longer message, I am likely going to leave my phone number in the beginning and again at the end. So if I'm doing, maybe it's a follow-up and a gratitude and thanking someone for their recent order, and you want to check in on how things are progressing, let's say with their wand. Oh gosh, that's my favorite tool. I'm going to get the right name on it. It's my favorite tool, my wand. You know what I'm talking about. I can get the corners. I wrote it down.
Oh, your Enviro wand.
My Enviro wand. Yes.
Well, you were
like I wrote it down
like it was electronically magical, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, it's pretty close to being magical. Yes, the Enviro wand.
Yes, the Enviro wand.
I love it too.
Yes, it is my favorite go-to tool. And my children actually love it as well. I'm like, okay, where is the Enviro wand? Because they run around with it, and they're supporting the process. Anyways, the Enviro wand. So if I'm calling to connect with them and to talk about their Enviro wand, and I wanted to see how things are coming along with your Enviro wand, and taking care of those cobwebs that were not decor for the recent holiday that took place. Or something like that. So keeping it fun and fresh. If I'm going to have a little bit of a longer message, I'm going to mention my phone number in the beginning. So I'm going to have my name. I'm going to have the reason I'm calling. I'm going to have my phone number, and then I'm going to leave my brief message and then repeat my phone number. The reason why is because sometimes some phone systems don't allow the rewind, or it's not easy for it to fast forward or rewind, or people don't want to go back and re-listen to the message to get your phone number. So having it in the beginning and at the end, if they do find themselves wanting to replay it, it'll make it easier. So that is a solution for leaving a voicemail. And the other point that I wanted to bring up is, if you have their cell phone number, is to let them know that you're going to be sending a brief follow-up text. And when I say brief, I mean brief. People don't read. It's challenging to read dissertation texts. I mean, they go on for days. I mean, you all know, you've been there, you've seen them, you've witnessed them, you've probably even sent them in the past. So keep the text brief. All right. So if I'm taking that approach, I'm going to let them know, and I'm going to follow up with a brief text to ensure that you receive my message. Because sometimes people don't listen to their voicemail anymore. They just don't, or it takes them longer to listen to it. So I'm going to share with you some other ideas that I think will be supportive. The key, though, my friends, on connecting is consistency counts. Consistency counts. And I learned this, actually. I was listening to a program. I love Audibles. I could listen to an Audible. Actually, I couldn't. I do. I listen to Audibles every single day. And I'm listening to, and the Audibles is an Amazon book app where you can access a number of books in audio format. See, I've had books. I'm an avid reader, and I've had books for years. The challenge was that finding the time to read the book and sit down and read it, I wasn't finding a lot of open time for that. And so, unless I'm reading to my children, that's right. I have a book that I'm reading right now that I'm reading to my children. It's a great way to multitask in the best form possible. Anyways, so audibles, listening to audibles. There's an audible that I'm going to share with you. It's called Sell It Like Sirhan. This gentleman sells real estate. He was on some show. And
He's
I
on
never
$1 million listing on
Yes.
Bravo. Ryan
Yes.
Serhant, and his show is still on Bravo.
Oh,
I didn't know
fantastic.
he had a book. Okay.
He has a book, Ashley. Oh,
Wow.
yes, he does. Sell It Like Sirhan. And he was talking about how he sold, I think in his first year, I think it was, he made $9,000 in his first year in doing his business. And then he turned it into a very large business. And he shared with people how to share or engage the purchase. And one of his strategies resonated with me so to the core that I adopted it. And that's something to think about. So anytime you pick up a book, anytime you come onto a webinar like this, anytime you're exposed to new knowledge, remember this: what you input, you output. What you input, you output. So when anytime I pick up a book or anytime I listen to a program, I'm like thinking to myself, I am going to learn something today. I am going to learn a multitude of things today. And when we're learning, we're growing. When we're learning, we're growing, we're expanding our knowledge. And that people can't take that away from us. We will have that forever and always as a tool going forward. I was listening to, okay, so I'll get back to this. This is an important point though. I was listening to something and someone went up to Picasso. This was another audible that I was listening to. Anyways, somebody went up to Picasso and he said, and he drew something on a napkin, and the person said, well, how much would something like that cost? And he said, well, $20,000. And she said, it took you less than 5 minutes. How could you possibly sell a napkin piece of art for $20,000? And Picasso said, oh no, it's not the 5 minutes it took me to draw it on this napkin. It is the lifetime of practice. It is the lifetime of refining my skill that brought me to this point. And so that's what I'm going to share with you. It is practice makes permanent, my friends. It is what you are doing every day to further your life and further your business and further your knowledge. It is cumulative. It is cumulative. So remember that. Even if someone says no, or if it doesn't go according to plan, it's cumulative. It's like, oh my goodness, I figured out another way that something doesn't work. That was my prototype, as Dyson would say. Dyson, that vacuum cleaning system, over 5,100 plus prototypes. He did not stop when he had one prototype that didn't work, or one person that said, no, this thing really does suck in the worst way. I'm sorry, you gotta have fun. I mean, if I can't laugh, you know what I mean? So one prototype, 10 prototypes. He went on for 5,000 plus prototypes. So if things don't go according to plan, hey, that was a prototype. All right, so Picasso, I went from Picasso to Dyson's, back to Ryan Serhant. See, there's a flow here. We left you. We're coming back to Ryan Serhant and Sell It Like Sirhan. Anyways, one of his consistent strategies that I adopted with vigor and enthusiasm, I think it was almost 6 months ago, and I'm continuing to do it today, is to have a daily list of people that I choose to impact. A daily list of people that I choose to impact. So what that means is before I start my day, I have a list. And so I actually brought my list here for all y'all. See, that was a Texan term. Did you like that, Ashley? All y'all?
You used it perfectly.
Okay, so here's my list, and it goes on. And I use color So some of you are like, gosh, that's so old school. It's paper. Okay, here's a list for me for today. This is, so after I'm done, after I've completed our conversation today, I'm getting on this list and I'm gonna go one by one by one. Now I think there's 35 so far on this list. I've got more to add to it. These are people now, and I may not contact every single one of them today. And if I don't, they're gonna transition to my next day. The key is that I am creating a proactive business versus reacting to what email or what phone calls or what's already in my schedule. These are outbound contacts and connections that are going to be a part of my day. Ryan, he does 35 outbounds every single day. That was what he said. And I said, okay, well, if he does 35, I'm doing 40 plus, 40 and beyond. And I've done that. And some days I do more and some days I do a little less. I consistently, though, have my list of 40, and I find a way to follow through with that every single day. So that what's happening is your outbound connections and reaching out are what creates and fuels the momentum for your for your business today, tomorrow, and ongoing. A business that's in momentum is so much easier to move than a business that is standing still. A business that is in momentum is so much easier to move. And so having this list, I know who I'm going to reach out to. So I'll either place it in my calendar so that it's in my calendar with all of their contact details, and they will be in there. So I know this is sacred time. These are people that I'm going to be reaching out to. Or I'll have it on a one sheet that I can leave myself notations of and make it for the next day. The reason why I like to handwrite it is because I can remember it. So oftentimes I know who I'm going to call before I even look down at my list. The other thing that I've noticed too with the very activity of writing down, it's very interesting. When I reach out to people that I've written on my list, they're like, Grace, I was just thinking about you the other day, or, oh, I was meaning to call you, or, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to hear from you. You were coming to my mind last week. Whatever it may be. So writing their names down, their contact information, practice makes permanent. I also carry a book with me everywhere I go. It has my goals for the year, my vision. So I'm going to be replacing that book. That book has seen many nations and countries and many places over the last year. And I will transition into my New Year's book. As I'm driving, or not when I'm driving, when I'm like standing or waiting for a child, or I'm in line for something, I'll be jotting down some notes of ideas of people that come to mind. So again, if you would do this, if you would be willing to do this exercise, you will have a list of people to reach out to. Now I'm either picking up the phone and calling them. Can you see both? Oh, someone's saying they can't see me.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Are you guys able to see Grace, like her little video and her slide? Yep. Okay, most people can. We're good.
Okay, good.
Just
Yeah,
sure.
I was like, I don't know. I see me.
Lots of yeses. Lots of yeses. Awesome.
Okay, good. All right, good. Well, so anyways, having that list to be proactive in your business and reaching out. So these are outbound conversations. So whether that is I'm sending an email, I'm picking up the phone, I'm inviting someone to something. And so I wanted to share with you, having a list, and whatever your sweet spot number is, start with that. Set yourself up for success. And so that when you look at that list, you're happy about it, you feel like I've accomplished something. I'm sharing with you what I'm doing, so you know this isn't a theory, this is actually an activity, a practice. If you want to think about, if you want a quick activity, I can do it with you right now, actually on this poster board. Quick activity to spur up who to reach and how to meet them, how to find them. I'm going to give you a few tips, okay? So what I want you to think about is, I want you to interact with me. I want to know what is a quality or an attribute of someone that you would like to serve as a customer or as a team member. A quality or attribute, something that you really appreciate a quality, and you would like to be around that more. Let me hear. Honest. Okay, honest. So what I want you to do is, as an activity, this is your integrity. I've got another word, integrity, integrity, integrity. Okay, so that's another topic. What else? Positive,
Yeah,
enthusiasm.
positive, enthusiastic, I see a few times.
Enthusiastic, yes, so enthuse. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, when you come up with these categories of people you prefer to be in their space, you wanna be around them. What I'm gonna ask you to do is, I'm gonna ask you to write names of people that you know, or people that know people that have this quality or attribute. So we call this with the DSWA, it's called the exponential contact list. This is an ever-growing, ever-evolving list of people that you can reach out to. So when I think about honest people that are in my space, I think about my friend Sarah. So I'm gonna write her name down, Sarah. Sarah's come up a lot today because she's on my list. Honest people, Karen, my friend Karen. So I'm going to write down their names. I'm going to rule them in before I rule them out. So in each of these categories, you could say, loves to clean, does not love to clean, loves our earth and is very conscientious. I may even put recycles, like has children, doesn't have children, is an empty nester. They goes to the what is it? Goes to the gym. Doesn't go to the gym. I mean, you can come up with a variety of lists, and that can be a starting point. So sometimes what happens is we're like, where do I find these people? Well, often to begin with, you already know them. Think about past hosts, people that are passionate about your products, the people that are consistently ordering from you. Those are great referral sources. They are raving fans, and they probably would be happy to share the good news with others if you would only have asked them or given them that thought that you're receptive to having those conversations with people that they know that are very much conscientious of our earth. They care about the cleanliness of their home. They care about their loved ones and what they're using. So if we ask, so connect, that's the key, is to connect and then make your list and reach out with enthusiasm. So those are a few thoughts. Let's continue. Consistency counts. So again, it's not, and that's what I was sharing with you, having that list daily so that when you walk into your office or you walk in prepared to do business, wherever you do it from, that you are ready for it because you have already done all of the advanced preparation so that when it's time, when people are actually awake and up and ready to hear from you, you are maximizing those moments with outbound contacts. Consistency counts. In sight, in mind. Out of sight, out of mind. So being consistent, what that does is that elevates your dependability. That elevates their thought of, oh my goodness, I'm excited to connect with this, or I'm excited to hear from her, or she's going to reach back out to me, or he's going to follow up with me. So making it a habit, a positive habit of reaching out. And because I'm going to be transparent with you, for many years, actually over the last 18 years, majority of our business was through word of mouth, was through repeat business. We really didn't market ourselves. And a lot of what I was doing in the past was responding to people as they would reach out to me. And what I noticed is actually people are happy to hear from you. People were happy to hear from me. I didn't realize that how important consistently creating this, it's like flexing a muscle, flexing the muscle of reaching out to people and connecting with them, and how important that is. And it builds strength. And so a no is not as painful as it used to be for me. It's like, oh, they're not ready for it right now. That doesn't mean forever. And I want to share this with you. Consistency counts. One of our largest clients here in the islands of Hawaii, one of our largest clients and repeat clients, by the way, it took 2.5 years to engage them. 2.5 years to engage them with consistent follow-up, with friendly follow-up, with follow-up that added value. So please don't give up on people. It may just be that they're not ready right now.
There's a question, Grace. So I think just a little bit of clarity. So when you make that contact and you have that first few minute conversation, during that, do you ask if they have an additional 10 minutes available, or is this something that happens during a second call?
Well, I asked them, that's such a great question, Barbara. Thank you. So when we're coming up on that 3-minute mark, I'll share with them, we're coming up on that 3-minute mark, and I respect your time. Is it okay to continue for another 10 minutes or so? Or shall we reschedule?
Love that.
I may not even,
so easy, but that's amazing.
Yeah. So, and notice the word respect. I respect your time. May we continue for 10 minutes or so, or shall we set a time later today or tomorrow to reschedule? So what you're doing is, when you're giving them the two options, later today or tomorrow, that's a dignity of choice. So she or he has the option of one or the other. It also states the language that you're projecting is, I respect your time. You're not just projecting it, you're modeling it. And so next time when they see your phone number coming through the airwaves on the caller ID, which we all have now, they're looking at that and saying, oh, I'm going to take this. This person respects my time. Or, oh my goodness, there is joy on the other end of this line. Let me take this call. Or, I would like a little power surge. This is a great conversation to say yes to. So that's what I'm sharing with you, is I respect your time. Possible to have the wonderful script written and emailed to us, Felicia. I love your enthusiasm. I don't know. Ashley, would that be an option?
Yeah, we can check into that. I'll get together with Susan and see how we can get that done, or get something like that done that serves that purpose for you guys, for sure. Yeah. And then one more question, since we're on this, about this conversation. I think they're wondering, what does the next 10 minutes look like if they say yes, or even reschedule?
Oh, yes. Oh, that's such a great question. So the next 10 minutes looks like building the relationship. So the next 10 minutes looks like asking them questions. So I would like to learn a bit more about you. Share with me and so when I'm talking to them, what happens is, if I'm talking at them, I'm telling them what I think would be important. I'm hoping what I'm saying is landing, versus by asking a few questions. So tell me a little bit about you. Or I'd like to learn a little bit more about you. And they could say, well, what do you want to know about? Well, we met at the park. We met with your children. I want to know more about you. What are some of the things that you do for a living? How long have you lived in this community? What are some great organizations that you participate in, that you go to meet new people? I'm asking them questions on things that I would love to learn more about, and that would get me an opportunity to learn more about them. And so by doing that, though, more will come forward so that I can understand where the fit is. So if they say, well, I'm brand new to the community, I really don't know very many people. Well, I would love to invite you to something that I'm attending, or I'm going to be hosting an open house and for our phenomenal um, uh, healthy home havens. What did I say? I wrote something specifically for you. I wrote some specific things for you.
You were on the right track with healthy home. That's good. Or
Yeah,
we
a safe home,
yeah, safe
a
home.
home. Oh yeah, yes. So I wrote some specific things because I'm looking at my time and I'm like, see how fast an hour can go by, my friends and family? I'm like, I've got so much more I wanted to share. So may I quickly give you a few questions that would be key questions that you can ask either in your, either as you're sharing about your products or as you're getting to know people, you can weave these questions in. So here are some specific questions. How soon would you like to make your home a safe haven? How soon? So what that does is that question creates this sense of urgency. Well, how soon do I want my home to be a safe haven? So that's a little play on the words that you use that I'm familiar with your Norwex family. The other is, what part of the house is a priority? So even to interview them and ask them, so what is your favorite area of the home and how do you care for it? What is your favorite area of the home, or where did the majority of the people in your family congregate? When they, that is, or where do you love to, or how, when you are hosting gatherings, which a lot of gatherings are coming up, where do the people tend to congregate? Okay. And so they're in the living room. They're in the living room, in the dining room, in the kitchen. That's where they tend to be congregating. Oh, and then the guest bathroom. They tend to congregate, not congregate, they tend to go. They tend to go into the guest bathroom. Please no congregation. Anyways, so okay, so it sounds like those are some key areas of the household. So how, what is your current home care routine? What is your current home care routine? Or how do you prepare for all of these wonderful people? How do you prepare to welcome them into the home? And so that's how I'm learning more about them and tying in what we have to offer. May I share with you a few strategies that have worked wonders for my friends, family, and clients, or people that I care about in preparation for these upcoming festivities. So those are a few on the fly questions. So where do they tend to congregate? And so you're getting to know them. And so what's happening is rather than we're telling them they need to clean their house, they are coming up with the idea of, oh my goodness, where do I begin? And how can I clean my house? And how could this be fun, enjoyable, easy, and good for the earth? How can I get the family involved in this and have some people putting on some mitts and making things happen? So those are a few. Or yes, there you go, Jessica, what chemicals do you use? Thank you, this is fantastic, I love it. Okay, and so a key important piece here, my friends, is they are not buying the price. They are buying the difference our products will make in their lives and for the good of the earth. So they are not buying, I want you to remember this, they are not buying the price, they are purchasing the difference that our products will make in their lives, how it will make life easier, life friendly, life conscientious, life enjoyable, how it will make a difference. So they're not purchasing the price. Okay. So that's how fast time flies when we are having fun, my Norwex family. So I have time for one final question, and then what I want to do is I want to encourage you to be sure to be at leadership in January, because that's where we get to invest significant amounts of time. That's where we get to pour into your lives in abundance, and You also get access to that follow-up series of 3 webinars following your participation in that event. So yes, I am too. I'm hoping to see you in January, Karen. Will there be part 2? So will there be part 2 call with you, Grace? Mo or Moy. I'm not sure how to pronounce, so I'm going to say Moy. That's how we would say your name here in Hawaii. Moy asked, will there be a part 2? There will actually be a 3-part series, so an additional 3 calls after January's event and festivities. So there's more. Stay tuned.
Yep, there's more. Stay tuned. We're still working on the details of that. I do see another question from Vonda. What is brief text? 2 to 3 sentences or 1 sentence?
Yes, 2 to 3 sentences at the most. Or I encourage you to do a voice text. A voice text, what happens is when you use words, we are communicating a smaller percentage of the communication is coming through. When you use your voice, your tone, your pace, your pitch, and the words, the combination of those, that's about 45% of communication coming through, which again is more impactful, more inviting, and more personable. And then if you want to take that up a notch, you can do a selfie video. And I know some of you are like, never. I encourage you, actually, I'm doing one later today because people want to know you're human. They want to know that they can connect with you. So brief is a brief sentence if you're using only your words, 2 to 3 sentences, or a voice text, or a quick selfie video. And I encourage you to do the selfie video. This is a sidebar, and you may want to jot this down in the midnight hour of our call. Videos, sending a video to a host, a really brief, personable video explaining what their guests can expect, or what you're excited to share with them, or what you're excited to teach them, and for them to have an opportunity to learn about, so that they can see your video and she can forward your video via text to her prospective guests. What that does is that says, you're not a picture, you're not an image, you're not a flyer, you're not an Evite, you're a person. And that's what people are connecting to. And that's what Norwex is so brilliant about. Their greatest asset is you.
The personal connection. Yeah, it's very powerful.
Yes, Ashley. So those are a few tips and thoughts.
Awesome. And we could probably take another question or two, 1 or 2 more questions.
Sure, Ashley. Absolutely. I'll stay on the line for a few more questions.
Okay. Let's see. 1 or 2 more questions. Anyone? Okay, here we go. Felicia, she's been very active. Let's take hers.
Yes. Okay.
How would you do your follow-up call after a vendor event? So she said, when I get a call as a customer, I never remember which booth the person is calling from. So what is your advice for follow-up calls from vendor events?
Okay, so great question. So vendor events, what I'm looking for at a vendor event is when I gather or create a connection with them, I'm going to write something memorable about them. So I'm going to write a quality or an attribute that I remember about them as I'm having a conversation with them. So maybe it was the enthusiasm for the Enviro wand. Okay, so I'm going to write down enthusiasm, or that she was personable, or that she was joy-filled, or she was on a mission and she was moving from booth to booth with enthusiasm and vigor. I'm going to write down something about her that made her special, so that when I do go to call her the day after, or 2 days at the most after the vendor event, I'm going to remind her of what I recognize in her. Or, hi, this is Grace with Norwex. We met at blah, blah, blah. And I want you to know how much I appreciated your enthusiasm. You were like sunshine in our booth, and I want you to know that. I'm looking forward to continuing our conversation around creating a safe haven and transitioning your home into a safe haven. And I'm available to connect today. My phone number is ... So I'm going to write down in that booth something that makes her special and memorable, so that, and I'm going to write it on, but next to her contact information, so I can repeat it. Because what that does is it makes her, she's not a number that was dropped in a drawing slip. She's a person, and that she was so memorable that you had something to say about her, or that she was so patient, or she had such a wonderfully behaved child that was ecstatic to put on the mitts. Or so, you know.
That's a great tip. And I know a lot of our field does that at parties, you know, using their order forms. They make notes about their interactions that they have with the guests and the hosts, and to use it like that. So that's a great tip. Same thing for vendor events. Love that. And it really helps with that personal connection, right? It makes you feel special. If you're getting that follow-up call, you're like, wait, you're Grace, who's Grace again? And then you say, remember your kid put on the dusting mitts? You're like, yes, Grace. Yeah. Right?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And there was no boxing involved.
No boxing.
No boxing.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Grace. We are out of time, you guys. So again, this is recorded. If you registered for the webinar, we will send out the recording, and we'll also get it out a couple different ways so you can rewatch it. And if you didn't print off Grace's handout to follow along with the training today, you can always go back and print it off, rewatch it, take those notes, maybe soak in some more stuff that you didn't get to soak in today. I appreciate your time today, Grace. How many enjoyed Grace today? Are we so excited for Leadership Conference? I know I am. You were so joyful. I saw a couple comments actually about how much we all appreciate your joy, and you're just very bubbly and just wonderful to watch and listen to. So thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you, Norwex family, for making this possible. It's a privilege to speak into your lives. So I will see you in January.
Yes. See you soon. Bye, Grace.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye, everyone.